Tonight on CTV News, deepening conservative dissent.
If it were me in his shoes, I would have resigned a long time ago.
Some key party executives call on leader John Rustad to step down. How he's responding to the revolt.
Organized criminals are still finding ways to work in the neighborhood and to profit at the expense of this neighborhood's most vulnerable population.
Crackdown on the downtown east side, a massive seizure of toxic drugs. An inside look at the crime ring sowing chaos.
Our hearts go out to anybody who's injured as a result of a police interaction.
What the police watchdog ruled about an officer's use of force after a suspect was shot dead in a 7-Eleven.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the growing revolt within the BC Conservative Party. After another MLA left caucus yesterday, there are now calls from top party brass for John Rustad to immediately resign as leader. Legislative Bureau Chief Rob Buffum leads us off tonight.
But this is
Facing mounting pressure to step down, BC Conservative leader John Rustad remains defiant.
I am not going to be resigning. Thank you.
The defiance, despite members of his party's management committee, including party president Aisha Este, sending him a scathing letter describing the party as in a state of unprecedented turmoil and chaos, and calling on him to resign immediately. A perspective shared by two former Conservatives who've been fired or quit in the past few weeks.
I do hope John takes this recommendation by the board seriously so that the party can turn itself into a direction of renewal. And I really hope that John will take this to heart.
The remaining 39 MLAs had various responses, ranging from support.
Do you think John Rustad should resign?
Absolutely not.
And John Rustad has your confidence?
Absolutely.
Others less committal.
No comment, you guys. Thanks.
And for some, silence.
Armin, any second thoughts on his leadership? Armin supports leadership?
Facing a drop in the polls, lost MLAs, and now loss of confidence from the party executive, former BC Liberal Premier Christy Clark says Rustad's days are numbered.
When there's a whole team of people that are jumping ship altogether, including your own party, I don't think I can imagine or remember a situation where anybody's come back from something like this.
As a practical matter, neither the management committee nor caucus can oust Rustad at this point. His removal would have to be through him resigning, something he maintains he's not doing.
I went around this province and toured as a leadership. 71% of the members voted in favor of my leadership.
But as they say in politics, a week is a long time, and it's only Wednesday. Robert Buffum, CTV News, Victoria.
A Vancouver police officer has been cleared of wrongdoing after a deadly takedown at a downtown 7-Eleven. The suspect was killed after taking two workers hostage. Now we're learning what else happened before the chaos turned violent. CTV's Shannon Patterson reports and a warning about some of the video in this story.
Move over! Take off!
This police-involved shooting of a knife-wielding suspect behind the counter of a 7-Eleven on Robson Street last December began when the man entered the store and demanded free cigarettes.
Shortly afterwards, we learned that this man went into a nearby restaurant where he stole some liquor and other items, including two knives. He then proceeded to return to the convenience store where he trapped two employees behind the counter, threatening and assaulting them with the knives.
A report from the Independent Investigations Office, which investigates officer-involved shootings, revealed an attending VPD member used a taser on the man twice.
However, this was proved to be unsuccessful, and another officer discharged his firearm, and the man was fatally wounded.
The two 7-Eleven employees were also injured. One of them stabbed multiple times by the suspect, the other hit in the eye with a bullet fragment.
It's extremely unfortunate that a civilian was injured by that bullet fragment. However, the lethal threat posed by the man to this employee, as well as the other witness who was injured, was even greater than the risk from from the bullet fragment that was shot by the officer.
The IIO determined the actions of the suspect clearly presented a threat of death or grievous bodily harm to the employees. So the officer who fired the fatal shots was justified and, in fact, bound by his duty as a police officer to use all force necessary to protect them from it.
The police acted appropriately in this case. They responded appropriately.
This report shows that the actions of the officers that day were lawful, were justified, and they did everything right.
Police say the incident had a profound impact on the officers involved.
Our hearts go out to anybody who's injured as a result of a police interaction. Our hearts go out to the 2 people who were injured, the 2 innocent people who were working in that store that day who were injured, and also to the family of the person who was shot and killed.
The report did not name the man who terrorized the convenience store workers and ultimately lost his life. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
A 6-week police investigation targeting a crime group in the downtown east side has led to a major seizure of drugs and stolen property. Vancouver police say 3 men were arrested last month after officers with Task Force Barrage identified a hotel meant for low-income residents as the base of the operation. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has the details.
Drugs, weapons, and cash, all among the contraband seized as Vancouver police uncovered more organized crime in the downtown east side.
It's still the most challenging neighborhood in our city, in our province, likely in our country, to police.
VPD's Task Force Barrage identified the West Hotel and Bar as the base of operations for the alleged criminal network, saying several rooms were rented to store and traffic drugs, weapons, and stolen goods.
These men were part of a criminal network that was renting rooms inside the West Hotel, again, a apartment building in the downtown east side that is intended to serve low-income residents of that community. But these people who don't live in that community were renting rooms in that hotel.
Investigators seized about 2.5 kilograms of fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine, along with $35,000 in cash and another $30,000 in stolen merchandise. 3 men in their 50s were arrested late last month.
At this point, the people who have been arrested have been released. The investigation is ongoing, and we will present our findings in a report to Crown Counsel with anticipation that criminal charges will result from this investigation.
VPD has called the task force, which began in February, a success, but its days are winding down.
This is a reminder that although we've made significant progress in the downtown east side, organized criminals are still finding ways to work in the neighborhood and to profit at the expense of this neighborhood's most vulnerable population.
Last month, the department said plans were in the works for a new team in the troubled neighborhood, but the details and cost have not been released. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
Day 3 of closing submissions into allegations of racist, homophobic, and discriminatory comments made by 3 RCMP Coquitlam officers continued today. CTV's Craig Krause has more on the back and forth between lawyers and when the board will make a decision.
Allegations against Coquitlam RCMP officer Rustad were front and center during Wednesday's virtual code of conduct hearing. The lawyer representing the RCMP Conduct Authority called Mesba's comments in a private group chat along with over police computers downright ghastly. John McLaughlin told the board that the comments uncovered during an investigation included denigrating a domestic violence complainant. McLaughlin said Mesba was not a credible witness when he claimed his comments were made out of frustration and came from a place of darkness. The officer was also accused of using an Asian slur, where McLaughlin said Mesba explained he didn't know the meaning of. The lawyer calling this an unwillingness to be truthful and claimed he didn't remember details while testifying under oath, but offered a self-serving narrative. Mesba's lawyer, Alison Tremblay, fired back, saying the entire investigation was unfair, urging the board that shoddy police work should not be excused, while also denying the RCMP has a legitimate interest in members' private communication and there was no policy to go through personal messages, comparing it to a conversation in a bar, saying the importance of this ruling can't be overstated. And as for the ruling, the 3 officers will hear the board's decision by November 7th. Craig Krause, CTV News.
Some City of Vancouver employees are being told they'll have to give up remote work. Starting in January, the city's non-unionized staff will be required to return to the office 5 days a week, and experts say that move could have a bigger impact on some groups than others.
Inflexibility at work, especially the inability to do some work at home, will punish this community the most. And we know that mothers are a diverse group, so we're thinking within that group that single moms who might be more likely to be time poor or have more issues with housing insecurity or food insecurity, mothers with disabilities or mental health challenges, they will feel the brunt of this the most.
The city's new policy affects about 1,400 exempt or non-unionized workers. Critics say it mirrors a growing national trend of employers rolling back remote options that were widely adopted during the pandemic. Policies that once helped parents and caregivers better balance home and work life.
There remains the stigma attached to remote work that if you're pursuing remote work, you know, you're listening for your kid in the other room, you're taking the dog for the walk, you're not a serious employee. And that impacts women. You know, it's one of the barriers they face in looking for career progression.
Experts say the return to office push could make it harder for employers to retain experienced staff, especially working mothers, and warn that rigid policies may hurt productivity more than help it. For now, the city hasn't said whether unionized employees could face similar requirements in the future. The embattled Metro Vancouver board will vote next week on whether to approve a slimmed-down budget. It comes after major public backlash over the organization's spending and pressure to cut costs. CTV's Martin McMahon has more.
From the nearly $3 billion over-budget North Shore wastewater treatment plant to questions over meeting compensation for its directors, Metro Vancouver has been under pressure to tighten its belt. And following a costs and services efficiency review, the board's chair feels the organization is in good shape financially.
For 2026, we have really pushed the limits of where we can get to. I think, you know, to do anything more than that would be a bit irresponsible because we would start to miss out on some very important projects.
The cuts would mean households would see an increase in rates of 2.5% next year, then 3% in 2027. That's a drop from the 5% annual increases originally projected for the next 2 years.
So I think we really got it down as fine as we could possibly get it, and you know, still be able to manage the region in the way it needs to be managed.
But not everybody is convinced.
Everybody who lives in Metro Vancouver should be watching this report very carefully and should be clutching their purse and holding onto their wallet.
Among the critics, New Westminster City Councillor and mayoral candidate Daniel Fontaine.
I mean, the scope of Metro Vancouver, it now does parks. It now does, you know, Invest Vancouver, a $5 million economic development arm. It does housing. I mean, what next? Are they going to be building batteries for electric cars? I mean, the scope of this organization is really just, from my perspective, gone way out of control.
Metro Vancouver is clearly trying to find ways to save money. But given rising costs, both for the regional body and for taxpayers, these questions about the organization's financial discipline aren't going away anytime soon. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Burnaby.
It is 6:13. You're looking at a live shot of Robson Street, and it looks somewhat dry. I know we've had a bit of everything today.
We sure did. We had rain earlier on, and then we had some clearing very briefly, and then now we're seeing cloudy skies out there once again. But the fall storm season is here upon us. Here's a look at warnings and what we can expect into tomorrow. In purple, that's wind warnings in effect for Haida Gwaii, north and central coast, as well as the northern tip of Vancouver Island. Winds gusting to 110 kilometers an hour, upwards of 90 kilometer an hour winds for the central interior as well as the Sunshine Coast, and you have rainfall warnings for the inland sections of the north coast and west coast of Vancouver Island. A little less stormy for us. We'll see showers through the overnight, and that's what we can expect tomorrow. In the morning, it does dry up through the afternoon with cloudy skies and a high of 14.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Plan, book, and safeguard your journeys. Explore the possibilities at expediacruises.ca.
And it's going to get very soggy as we head into the weekend. I've got those details coming up.
Yeah, definitely feeling like autumn now, isn't it? A typical Vancouver autumn. All right, thanks, Anne. The respiratory virus season is officially underway, and BC is launching its fall immunization campaign. The province says it has secured nearly 2 million flu shots and 1.4 million COVID-19 doses. And more than 300 vaccine doses have already been administered since the booking system launched last week. Health officials are urging people to get immunized and to be cautious of misinformation.
These false claims can undermine confidence in proven public health measures and make it harder for people to make informed choices.
Influenza, COVID-19, they do evolve, they change on an ongoing basis. And because of that, we need to update the vaccines so that we can actually match the best way possible what circulates with the vaccine, and you get the best protection.
People are encouraged to check which vaccines are recommended for their age and health status. A Jeep has been retrieved out of the Squamish River 4 months after crashing into the water, but one passenger involved remains missing. The incident happened on June 14th, and the Jeep SUV was finally recovered on Saturday. 4 people had been inside the vehicle at the time, but 3 were able to get out safely. A 4th person, a 24-year-old from Surrey, remains unaccounted for. RCMP say the recovery marks a significant step in the ongoing investigation. A closer look at how badly injured a humpback whale calf is after a Hullo Ferry collision. Also ahead.
I don't think they really thought about what they were doing.
A Fraser Valley farmer furious after his fields were trashed. The damage left by a driver doing donuts, and he's not the only victim. When CTV News at 6 continues. Stay with us. A group that represents whale watching operators is sharing a photo of a young humpback with a gash in its dorsal fin. The team believes it is the result of a vessel strike. The Pacific Whale Watch Association says the injured calf named Skipper was spotted on Monday, a few kilometers from the scene of a reported collision over the weekend. Hullo Ferries, which operates between Nanaimo and Vancouver, said one of its vessels likely struck a whale near Vancouver in English Bay. The association is also sharing a photo that it says shows the same calf uninjured the day before the reported ferry strike.
We have seen, sadly, a lot of other whales with even more serious injuries be able to recover and lead normal lives. Another thing going for them is that they do actually have a pretty thick layer of blubber. So even though it looks really bad, a lot of that is just fatty tissue and not necessarily, muscle or things like that.
These photos of Skipper were taken before the injury. We contacted Hullo Ferries for comment and did not hear back. A Fraser Valley farmer is speaking out tonight after he says some young vandals caused thousands of dollars in damage to his crops. And as CTV's Dimitra Maragos reports, those in the industry say this is a common occurrence.
They did a bunch of donuts, tore up quite a huge area of grass.
Longtime Abbotsford farmer Rob Rint describing the damage after he says an SUV went on a joyride through his family's crops in mid-October.
It hurts.
This all happening in broad daylight.
I don't think they really thought about what they were doing. They just saw a field and went through the cable and the donuts.
Rint says the driver went through this cable barrier, did donuts, and left. But not before one last spin.
They came back through another driveway on another property and then did the same,
leaving their mark on a second set of crops.
Having somebody drive through what you spend a year growing, right? Like it's kind of a slap to the face.
The cost of the damage, Rint says, around $100,000.
It's kind of like being punched in the gut.
We reached out to Abbey PD, who says they have identified the vehicle and are investigating.
No, I'm not surprised.
That's Bill Zillmans from the BC Potato and Vegetable Growers Association, who says anecdotally he hears about this happening to crops across the province once a month.
This has been an ongoing challenge in agriculture for quite some time.
And says this is an obstacle for farmers that could be easily avoided.
It's extremely hard to produce with the challenges, whether it's weather or the public. And this is just one other thing that really is not necessary.
Brent says this incident shows a lack of common decency.
People should respect people's properties.
Dimitri Marigo, CTV News, Abbotsford.
A portion of Fraser Highway is staying closed till mid-December due to construction on the Surrey-Langley SkyTrain line. The road between 140th Street and 96th Avenue in Surrey has been closed since the start of April for the construction of the new Green Timbers station. It was previously slated to open by the end of this month. The closure affects all vehicle lanes, sidewalks, and multi-use pathways. Drivers are encouraged to take 96th Avenue instead. Survivors of BC's wildfires are in Ottawa to push for more help fighting climate change. Also ahead.
I just want all the business to be aware of what's going on.
How a Vancouver business was scammed out of thousands of dollars in seconds, what the crook did when handed the credit card machine. That's ahead. A delegation of firefighters and survivors of wildfires is calling on the federal government to step up support. After one of the worst Canadian wildfire seasons on record, the group is putting out 3 calls to action. It wants the federal government to double national wildfire training and equipment funding. It wants strengthened coordination capacity between provinces and territories, and it's calling on government to cut pollution by investing in clean Canadian power.
Our wildfire system was built for a different era. The system and the people that hold it together are being pushed to their limits. We need federal leadership that matches the scale of the problem to close the gaps that are leaving us all vulnerable.
As part of the event, the delegation says it's turning over a petition from thousands of Canadians. The owner of a Yaletown salon has a warning for other businesses after a fraudster managed to steal nearly $5,000 in a matter of seconds. CTV's Ben Milger has tracked down other businesses in Alberta and Ontario with similar cases involving the same suspect.
Joseph Jahari has been a fixture in Yaletown for decades, welcoming clients to Pink Lime Salon and Spa. In all that time, he's never experienced anything like what happened when this man came in to buy a $20 hairbrush.
They want to put it on their credit card, but they took the machine, and instead of them putting their PIN number, they refund themselves $4,900.
The man tore the receipt from the machine and then abruptly left without even taking the hairbrush. Jahari reported the theft to police. After a lengthy back and forth with Moneris, the company that processes the transactions, he's finally getting the $4,900 back. But the company didn't agree to that until being contacted by CTV News.
I just want all the business to be aware of what's going on and really have your cameras. That helps always, because that's the only way you're going to identify the client who is coming into your salon.
Since speaking with Jahari about the fraud, we've managed to track down 1 business in Alberta and 2 in Ontario that have fallen victim to the same scam. They each provided us with pictures and videos showing the same man using the same technique to steal thousands of dollars in a matter of seconds. As there have been no arrests or charges, CTV News has to blur the suspect. In Belleville, Ontario, he hit a shop called T-Shirt Explosion. A man got away with $4,999.99, 1 cent below the refund limit on the machine.
$5,000 being taken can make or break a business. It could easily close a small business, so of course it was scary hearing about it. And it was just a terrible scenario.
The owner of this burger joint in Cambridge, Ontario, had his refund limit set to $100, but an over-the-air software update reset it, and the thief managed to scam the restaurant for $4,900.
Even if those POS devices have been hardened or secured in the past, that security is often overridden now that the patch or update has been applied.
Some of the businesses have been compensated by Moneris, but some have not. They're all advising others to keep a close eye when customers are handling sales terminals. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Amazon has been ordered to pay nearly $20,000 in penalties and fees for breaking BC's consumer protection laws. The penalty stems from a Consumer Reports BC investigation into a complaint from a customer who never received their online order. Amazon claimed the package was delivered to someone at the home, but regulators say that is not enough. Delivery terms must be clearly outlined and agreed to. Amazon has 30 days to appeal and must also refund the customer more than $500. Officials say it's a reminder for consumers to know their rights. What happened to a woman when she asked for AI help in picking lotto numbers? Also ahead, Phoebe the pug just passed her test to serve alcohol in Alberta. What this highlights about the province's online testing. That's ahead.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Vancouver, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
A Calgary dog named Phoebe fetched more than just laughs after she became Alberta's newest and most unlikely certified bartender. The 9-year-old pug earned a valid provincial pro-serve certificate, the same one required for human servers, after an artificial intelligence program completed the online training in minutes. It started as a joke, but digital security experts say it highlights serious gaps in the integrity of Alberta's online testing.
She has received the training just like any other server or bartender in the province of Alberta. Phoebe, a dog, a pug, actually received this training, this certification, which is the concerning part as far as the province doesn't know if or who is taking the training.
Phoebe has since had her certification revoked, ending what may have been the shortest bartending career yet. But there's no indication the province has upgraded the system to prevent something like this from happening again. A woman in the States is $100,000 richer thanks in part to AI. 45-year-old Tammy Carvey of Michigan won the money in her local Powerball draw after asking ChatGPT to generate a random set of numbers. Turns out 4 of those numbers were a match, and thanks to the Power Play feature, her $50,000 prize doubled. Carvey says she plans to use the winnings to pay off her mortgage. The Michigan Lottery says AI can't predict winners, but it sure made a lucky guess. Wow. I can just see everyone is now going to ask ChatGPT to give some random numbers, but it was just luck.
Yes, exactly. Just random set of numbers like you would do in any lottery, really.
Yeah, but people still will try anyway, right?
For sure. I know I'm going to anyways. All right, let's take a look at our forecast right now. We have another system moving its way in along the coast, bringing in some strong winds as well as periods of heavy rain. So warnings are in effect right now for parts of the province. So in purple, Haida Gwaii, North Coast, Central Coast, and North and East Vancouver Island. You'll see winds gusting up to 110 kilometers an hour. For the Central Interior and Sunshine Coast, you'll see winds gusting to 90 kilometers an hour. Rainfall warnings in effect for inland sections of the North Coast. 50 to 80 millimeters of rain expected into tomorrow night. And the west coast of Vancouver Island, you're looking at anywhere between 80 to 140 millimeters of rain through the day tomorrow. So here's how everything will play out on our weather tracker. As you can see, moving its way in, bringing in some heavy rain for the North Coast, Central Coast, as well as Vancouver Island. We'll see showers to start off the day for us on the South Coast, and then it dries up, but it remains very wet for the Central Coast as well as Vancouver Island. So you will see wet and windy conditions for Port Hardy tomorrow, but sunny skies for the Southern Interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. 15 degrees with winds gusting to about 110 kilometers an hour. Soggy 13s for Campbell River and Comox. You'll see heavy rain as well for Tofino, Port Alberni, and Nanaimo. Showers for the Southern Gulf Islands and Victoria, 14 degrees. Stormy for the Sunshine Coast at 12 with winds gusting to 80 kilometers an hour. It'll be very wet up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish at 10. Showers for Whistler and for us across the Lower Mainland. We will see some showers to start off the day, drying up with a few breaks through the afternoon. 14 degrees across the Lower Mainland, and then gets very wet for Friday and Saturday into Sunday before we see some breaks. Monday, we'll see a mix of sun and clouding over on Tuesday with light rain expected once again on Wednesday and a high of 11. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So a little bit of everything as we head into the next 7 days.
You should have seen how excited everyone was in the newsroom when the sun came out.
I know, today people were running to the windows by my office. I was like, we've seen this before.
Yeah, but I guess it's just a nice break from all that gray, and we'll be looking for that sun tomorrow, too. Yes. All right, thanks, Anne. Closing the curtains on a piece of Vancouver history. Coming up, when Park Theatre is going dark. Plus,
financially, it's going to be debilitating if it's not covered.
They kept up with oil changes, but still faced a massive repair bill. Coming up, one family's costly lesson in car maintenance. That's ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 71 cents to the American dollar. Oil was up $1.26, closing the day at $58.50 U.S. a barrel. Gold lost nearly $44 on the day. The TSX finished the day higher, gaining 94 points. The Dow Jones lost 334 points on the day. Movie lovers have just a few days left to catch a flick at Vancouver's Park Theatre, as the long-standing theatre will close its doors this weekend. Cineplex confirming the Cambie Street Cinema will close on Sunday, calling it a difficult decision. The Park Theatre first opened in 1941 and became part of the Cineplex in 2013. Its 70mm projector will be moved to another location, but the future of the building remains unclear. A family in Ontario thought they were doing everything right, getting regular oil changes and following the maintenance schedule. But when their SUV's engine seized, they were left with a massive repair bill and no warranty coverage. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
Jacqueline Ferrer of Mississauga and her husband had a baby last year, and with a dog in the family, they decided to get an SUV. They purchased a used 2022 Mazda CX-9 with about 50,000 kilometers on it. Ferrer says over the past year, they took it in for oil changes.
We've taken it for its oil change every 5,000 kilometers, and it's been good to us until it wasn't.
Ferreira did not purchase the SUV from a Mazda dealer and uses her own mechanic for maintenance.
So we do get our oils changed with our own personal mechanic.
In August, there was a problem with the vehicle's camera and then it wouldn't start. They took it to a Mazda dealership and were told there was a problem with the oil level and the engine was seized.
They were asking for proof of our oil changes. We sent them photographs of our oil changes.
Following an investigation, they were told the engine failure was not a defect and would not be covered under warranty. Ferreira says her mechanic had to install a used engine at a cost of almost $10,000.
Financially, it's going to be debilitating if it's not covered.
When CTV News reached out to Mazda, spokesperson said Mazda Canada declined the warranty claim on evidence the engine failure was not caused by a manufacturer defect. A review revealed irregularities in the maintenance documentation provided. If your vehicle is under warranty, you don't have to go to a dealership for oil changes, but many people do. If you do go to an independent mechanic or a lube shop, you do have to follow the owner's manual and the scheduled maintenance. You have to use the right oil and filter and keep detailed records. Mazda told CTV it recognizes the situation has been difficult. Therefore, Mazda offered as a gesture of goodwill to reimburse the cost of the used engine installed by the independent garage. Ms. Ferreira accepted the offer. The family still has questions, but agreed with the outcome.
At least the cost of that engine is covered, which is still a great financial relief. Thank you, CTV. We're really grateful. Thank you so much.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
As Oasis continues its reunion tour, fans now have a chance to buy a piece of the band's history.
It's the biggest Oasis collection of music memorabilia to ever come to market anywhere in the world.
150 items from Oasis are on offer as part of a larger music auction in London. This week, it's expected to bring in more than $5.5 million. Among the items from Oasis are keepsakes, including handwritten lyrics and instruments. Noel Gallagher's red Gibson guitar, which Liam Gallagher famously damaged on stage in 2009, is expected to sell for more than $900,000. Olive and Popeye have found forever homes, but there are some more cuddly creatures ready for adoption. Homeward Bound is just ahead. Plus, Adam finds out how one dad's mission to make Halloween special for his kids has become a lasting tradition that brings the neighborhood together when CTV News returns. Right now, here's a preview of Your Morning, Vancouver.
Is BC's Conservative Party unraveling? Thursday on Your Morning Vancouver, a reaction to a string of exits from caucus, and is John Rustad's future on the line? Also, the impact of menopause on the workplace, the cost to the Canadian economy as women struggle to manage symptoms, and how companies can better support. We'll see you in the morning.
Ringside Report, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct.
The Canucks' winning streak came to an end thanks to their former goalie Artur Shilovs and the Pittsburgh Penguins. But with 3 wins in 4 games so far, the team can still close the book on a successful road trip against Nashville. As CTV's Yasmin Gandam reports, the team could see some reinforcements return to the lineup. Here's this week's Ringside Report.
Tyler Myers and Kiefer Sherwood scoring 41 seconds apart in the first period in Washington Sunday. And the good vibes continued in Pittsburgh Tuesday with Connor Garland scoring just over a minute into the game.
Here's Connor Garland with a step on the right wing. He shoots, he scores.
But the team crashed in the second period.
We didn't do anything after that, really. So really bad effort tonight.
The Penguins scored 3 times in a little more than 3 minutes with the Canucks running on empty. The final score 5-1 for the Penguins.
Can't let games slip like this. Yes, we've been playing some good hockey lately, but it doesn't come easy. So we just got to bring it every night.
The Canucks have been dealing with 5 players injured or on leave, including top forward Brock Besser, who's missed the past 2 games for personal reasons, leaving them with no choice but to call up some replacements from the AHL.
It's too much to ask the Abbotsford call-up guys to step in and be difference makers. That's not who they are.
Despite the team desperately needing goals and missing some key players, the top lineup was barely on the ice in Pittsburgh.
Particularly Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk, who led this team in goal scoring last year. They were among the lowest skaters in ice time in Pittsburgh.
Head coach Adam Foote says there is a good chance Besser will be back for Thursday's road trip finale in Nashville, and Teddy Bluger, a strong penalty killer, could also draw back into the lineup. Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Ringside Report, brought to you by Capital Direct.
CapitalDirect.ca.
It seemed like all of Toronto erupted in cheers when the Jays clinched a spot in the World Series. And now fans are showing some good sportsmanship. Following that nail-biter Game 7 win over the Mariners, one fan posted on social media that they'd be donating to Seattle Children's Hospital. The post went viral, and soon after, others followed suit. The hospital thanked Blue Jays fans for their generosity, saying they've received about 100 donations so far.
Aw, so Canadian.
So nice. That's very kind. Nice. Would they have felt that generous, though, if the Blue Jays had lost? Probably.
I don't think so.
It's time for Homeward Found, a new weekly segment where we introduce you to furry friends from local rescues who are looking for their forever homes. Here are some cats from the Vancouver Orphan Kitten Rescue Association, also known as VOCRA. Meet Jillian. Isn't she cute? A gentle soul with a whole lot of love to give. This 2-year-old mama cat finished raising her kittens, who have now all found homes of their own. Now it's her turn to find her forever family. It may take some time for her to warm up, but once she does, she will give endless cuddles and purrs.
Oh, and she deserves it. Well, bonded 1-year-old sisters Caramel and Coco are a package deal, and the dynamic duo offers the perfect balance. Caramel is the cautious one, but all as she warms up, she'll quickly show off her curious and clever side. Coco is the calmer one of the pair and enjoys lounging in her hammock, sunbathing, and bird watching. These two are ready for a home where they can continue to thrive side by side.
And say hello to Sparrow, a 10-year-old gentleman who is equal parts foodie and cuddle bug. Don't let his age fool you. He has a playful side, especially when it comes to chasing lasers. Sparrow has blossomed in foster care, learning to enjoy lap time at his own pace. Now he's ready for a quiet and patient home where he can spend his golden years.
Adorable. And a happy update to share from our very first segment. Bonded cats Olive and Popeye have been adopted together from the SPCA in Richmond. Yay!
Hey, that's
there you go.
great.
Good news.
TV works.
It's working.
Yes, it is working.
Put them on TV and then they get a home.
Exactly.
Well, good for them. Okay, for more information on how to adopt, head to vocra.ca. We'll get to the Sawatsky sign-off in just a minute. First, Kevin, what's coming up tonight on the late news?
Well, Mi Jung, the BC Minister of Public Safety, has responded to our request for comment on how Jordan Conway, the man accused of killing a Vancouver taxi driver, has fled authorities. He's still under a Canada-wide warrant. We'll have the ministry's response later tonight. And happening now at Surrey City Hall, a meeting involving Surrey Police Service officials and community members. We've been told, quote, members of the community intend to press the police chief on the city's extortion response and safety metrics and to expect lively exchanges. We'll have the full report at 11:30.
Okay, sounds like a busy evening. Thanks,
Very
Kevin.
busy.
Well, Halloween may be just one night, but one Vancouver man prepares for weeks to make it special. What started as a family tradition has turned into a neighborhood spectacle. In tonight's Sawatsky sign-off, Adam explains how one dad's spooky setup is sparking more smiles than scares.
After happening upon this deceased duo, the first living person to walk past is Wee Wong.
Just random guys.
Wee says skeletons start congregating round his house the day after Labor Day.
This is nothing compared to what's coming.
At least 2 will take over the truck.
It's storage.
Before another gets behind the wheel of the boat.
Every day some stuff trickles out of my garage and my basement.
And every day, after working as a mechanic,
I got boxes and boxes.
Wee will spend a couple hours with this spooky stuff.
People, they watch the progress. And they're walking by every day and say, ooh, 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 ooh.
Preparing for the big night.
You want a happy story?
Wee's Halloween story began when his family moved to Canada when he was 6.
When I was a kid, I used the same costume for years and years and years, right?
When he had kids of his own, Wee ensured that every year they could get new costumes and experience new thrills.
You know, basically, I had kids that are now grown up, and I'm stuck with the Halloween stuff, and they're gone.
But because Wee made so many happy memories with them, his now grown kids will come back to help their dad on Halloween night.
Need a hand?
To make memorable moments for the thousands of kids in the neighborhood expected to tour his display.
Some of the smiles are bigger than what Santa gives you.
Well, the skeletons are showing their age.
I'm 63 now, just an old kid.
Wee has found that giving back to the community like this keeps him young at heart.
Everybody's good at something, and I guess this is what I do.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Vancouver.
Wow, he starts early. He said he starts after Labor Day.
Well, he has to look at all the stuff he has, and he still has a basement full.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well,
you have to do it gradually.
Exactly.
He must have a lot of skeletons in his closet.
I know.
leave now.
Oh, yeah. Leave on a high note, Kevin, for sure.
You were waiting to say that.
I was.
I want to see that house in Halloween.
Oh, I know. I think it's in East Van because I believe Mike McCardle spoke to him years ago. We'll have to try to track down that address for you in case you want to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A beautiful view from the Little Mountain Stairs Trail in Chilliwack. Thanks, Linda, for sending this one in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Ooh, that does look like a nice trail. A lot of good hikes out there.
Yes, definitely.
All right, thanks, Ann. And Kevin's back at 11:30. Thank you for sharing part of your evening with us.
See you later.